So I'm Dr. Stephen Caldwell, Associate Professor of Music here at the University of Arkansas and Director of the Schola Cantorum.
I'm Stephen Wynn. I'm Artistic Director of NWA Ballet Theatre and choreographer for Carmina Burana.
Part of what I do as an educator at a university is I'm preparing students for a career in music, and part of that responsibility from my perspective is giving them experiences while they're a student that will prepare them for that professional world. I thought it was well worth reaching out to see if we could to put something together so that we could end up with a world-class production that would bring together two entities of the area of the artistic world that wouldn't necessarily combine, and that would enhance the education of our students while simultaneously enriching the arts of the community. They do their job, you do your job, I do my job. That's how we create the art.
As choreographer, when I'm trying to put this together, you really cannot use the content of that because there's no through line. So you would lose the audience. So you're trying to find this sort of imaginary, overarching sort of narrative that's going to produce that, and so I'm excited. I would like to talk a little bit about my motivation for Carmina Burana. And a lot of that motivation started as a child when I first saw Carmina Burana performed by Pennsylvania Ballet. And the second version of that was as a professional dancer, as I did a tour throughout the different open squares throughout Italy. And the third experience I had with Carmina Burana was my own choreographic approach to Carmina Burana on a school. And the fourth time now is what I'm doing right now with NWA Ballet Theatre. And I'm really excited about this because I have a lot more background and understanding of Carl Orff's motivation and his time in history, 1936, 1937, and what was going on in Germany at that time. And then his approach of using these ancient scripts, these poems, to bring back to life. Okay, here we go, 25 coming down to 5,000 feet.
So the music for Carmina Burana it's really interesting on so many different levels. So it's a really ancient text, but it's relatively new music. And Carl Orff, as a composer, is known, but he's actually much more famous for his music education models, where he developed methods for teaching music to children. And one of his whole philosophies with which Carmina Burana gets sucked along is that this is music that's designed for amateurs. You don't need to be a professional singer in order to do it, and that makes it really beautiful. Because the pitches and the rhythms are really straightforward, and they're designed to be simple. And yet what the composer is able to do with such simple pitches and rhythms is kind of monumental in scale and excellent to bring forth. And that means that with student singers here, these are mostly music majors, but not all music majors. And in this case, a lot of these students, they're in theory and they're in voice lessons and they're learning all of the other aspects of music as well. And when we're talking about the other aspects of music, they're learning how to do those in isolation. And then they get a score like Carmina Burana. And then they can do it all at the same time at the level where they are, because the pitches and the rhythms were designed for amateur singers, so they can come to the polishing portion of the performance much faster, which makes them more enjoyable to sing.
Yum, 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 like you're eating a Twinkie and you're really enjoying yourself. 3-0, 6-5. Ready, go, each other. 2, 3,
As a ballet choreographer, I was thinking, how can we create one theme that would not be disjointed with the inspiration that Carl Orff used from these poems, but would be overarching. And so I come up with the idea of using the character Fortuna from the poem O Fortuna, which bookends his Carl Orff's composition, to be the main figure moving through.
So here we are in the ballet studio trying to translate all these brilliant ideas into choreography. One of the things that became very apparent to me is the Fortuna character needed to change. So the idea is to alter the very substance of Fortuna into a different character called the deity of fate. The deity of fate is like very clearly relational, relatable, moves amongst everyone and inspiring and motivating, whereas the other character, Fortuna, is on a pedestal, it's distant, and it is unpredictable. So now I have this really big opportunity now to create these individual stories as this character interacts with the ballet. And this character then becomes someone who is relevant, who is relatable, and most importantly, it becomes a relational character, not a character on a pedestal, but a character who is interacting with the cast and creates narrative, creates story, creates intrigue. So in order for me to create this narrative for this ballet, I need the deity of fate, because this character helps me to build these relationships.